listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MP. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype, we got Josh.
Hey!
It is that time again. We're looking ahead at a premium live event, Extreme Rules. We do only have 6 matches announced for it, so we might have some time at the end of the show to recap a little bit of what's happening on NXT as they ramp up for Halloween Havoc. But firstly, let's look at these 6 matches sitting in front of us. Where do you want to start? Because they're all pretty decent big matches here.
I'm going to go with the strap match because I think it's going to be the easiest.
Fair enough. Well, we are going to be, after multiple interferences, multiple making his presence known, making his return to the WWE, we're going to see Karrion Kross with Scarlett by his side go up against Drew McIntyre in a, as you said, strap match.
Yeah, this will be an interesting match because it will tell us a lot about what they plan to do with Karrion. As we've talked endlessly over the last 2 years, Drew McIntyre is the one at beat.
Mm-hmm. The made man.
Yeah, he's the top guy that's not the top guy in the company. So if Karrion Kross comes off with a win here, that makes him a made man and makes him a legitimate contender for a world title.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is why they're doing this, is to elevate Karrion Kross and make him important considering his last run.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, right? Like, it is a guy who is coming back. Maybe you didn't see him on NXT, and all you saw of Karrion Kross was his last run, where he was losing to, mid-card and lower-card guys. It was all over the place, and didn't really fit with how he'd been presented on NXT. And now you see him come back, he's got some hair, and he's able to go toe-to-toe with Drew McIntyre. So I reckon that this match, even if Karrion Kross doesn't win, that it still will be enough of a showing to put him up in that A-tier area with Drew McIntyre and with the rest of the boys. And it's going to hopefully show that, as you said, we have more contenders and more people that can hang up in that top tier of people.
Yeah, I'm picking Karrion Kross to win. I think Scarlett gets involved somehow, and that gives enough of a tips the scales enough in Karrion Kross's side to actually win.
Yeah. I think it's a close one, right? I could see definitely an outcome where Drew McIntyre picks up the win. He is that guy. He can pick up a win and look absolutely stellar. Karrion Kross, returning superstar, you kind of want him to start off strong. I think I'm going to side with you on this one. I think I'm going to pick Karrion Kross to walk away with the win. I think he needs it more than Drew McIntyre. I know Drew just lost to Roman, but he could take a loss here, especially if Scarlett gets herself interjected.
Yeah, and a loss to Karrion Kross is not going to hurt Drew McIntyre.
No. Alrighty, well, let's look. I'm going to pick this time. I'm going to go to the I Quit match. We've got Edge versus the leader of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, with the entirety of the rest of Judgment Day, Priest, Mysterio, and Ripley all in his corner. It is an I Quit match. Somebody is going to utter those 2 words.
My head and my heart are at war with this match.
I think I can guess which way those are both going.
My heart says Finn Balor. It says that it wants Finn to win and bring an end to this whole feud, and move on, because Judgment Day has never been more interesting now to me than now with Dominic involved.
Mm-hmm.
But my head says Edge will win to end the feud and possibly also bring an end to Judgment Day. Would be a disaster considering they just turned Dominic with.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that I expect them to do, though.
Yeah.
So I'm officially picking Edge because I just don't believe that they will put him under Finn Balor.
Yeah. I have a little bit more belief than you, I think. I believe. But it is very much the same predicament. Finn Balor should win this match for the sake of him, for the sake of the Judgment Day, and for the sake of them being treated as pretty much anything other than mid to lower card guys who are going nowhere. the Judgment Day need to stand tall here. And I'm not talking beat 'em up after the match. This needs to be the definitive end. Edge can move on away from the Judgment Day, and Finn Balor can stand tall. It's not like Edge can't take a loss. The guy's at the point in his career that he's going to be a legit contender. You're going to have 50 million inbuilt storylines just by him existing. He could lose his next 10 matches and he'll still be an interesting character to have around. I do have the same doubts you have that they're going to invest that heavily into Finn Balor and the Judgment Day. Much like we talked about Karrion Kross becoming a made man if he beats Drew, this is going to elevate Finn Balor if he gets the win here against Edge, and make the entire Judgment Day a bit more than a goon squad. And, you know, we are still dealing with the Dominic stuff with Ray. We are still, you know, Damian Priest is getting quite a bit of showing. Rhea Ripley hopefully going to start making her impact known soon as well. And it feels like it's, as you said, just at the peak of the Judgment Day right now. It would be such a shame to tear it all down just as it starts really getting running. Yeah,
it's definitely a situation where it's like, I want to see this succeed because I like everybody involved in this. I like Finn. I like Damian Priest. I especially love Damian Priest, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dominic, especially now that he's gone to the dark side, and I love Rhea. Rhea's a great character.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe that they will do anything with them beyond just being a goon squad, like you called them. I think Edge wins here emphatically, and I think it'll be because of AJ Styles. Yeah. I think AJ Styles will get involved along with Ray, and that will neutralize the Judgment Day.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of feuds for the Judgment Day going around. And with it being an I Quit match, it does open up that whole no disqualification possibility. And it does allow itself to be open to interference. So there's no way that this match is clean and down the middle for sure.
Yeah. Although it is very possible that they are building towards War Games with this feud.
True.
A feud that's lasted all year long, practically. Going to War Games.
Yeah. It does have the numbers for it, so maybe that is where it ends up, and it won't be an emphatic win for anybody. In which case, please give it to Finn. If it doesn't matter, give it to Finn. Alrighty, what do we got? We got time still. Let's talk about... Let's go for the 6-man tag team match. Brawling Brutes, Imperium, Sheamus, Gunther, everybody else in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. It's going to be a banger.
Yeah, it's going to be a war. That is plain and simple. They are going to have to clean the entire ringside area and the ring because this is going to be brutal.
We got a short little preview.
I think the Brawling Brutes comes out on top.
Yeah. We got a short little preview this week on NXT. The Brawling Brutes went down and challenged Pretty Deadly for their tag titles and had a big match with them until Ludwig and Vinci came down and interfered, and we got to see them brawl and continue their fight down there. It's cool to see that story intertwining into NXT. But any combination of Brawling Brutes or Imperium can put on bangers, and it's crazy to see so many just good combinations of wrestling. Like, I'm not bored of the storyline anytime soon. Keep giving me these men slapping meat and these other guys just going crazy wanting to brawl. It's always good fun.
I absolutely agree. It's been absolutely fun to watch. I think the Brawling Brutes win it to give you the illusion as to whether or not Sheamus can actually pull off the win on SmackDown Live next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I'm thinking. I think the Brawling Brutes win here, and then it's a pick-em in that Intercontinental title match.
Sure.
If the Imperium wins here, that makes it more likely that Sheamus wins, to be honest. But I think they really want to go with the confusion of whether or not you actually think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Sheamus winning anything. So I'll go with Brawling Brutes here. But unlike the whole Edge Judgment Day stuff, I'm not begging for this one to end. You can keep giving me this for a little while. I'm going to keep enjoying the combinations of matches we get out of these two trios.
I will say this. Between the two matches that we've talked about, I would rather have the Brawling Brutes and Imperium involved in War Games than I would Judgment Day and Edge and anybody else.
True. And just keep upping the stakes. Let's slot in one more match. There's one not for a championship. Let's close out the non-championship matches. We have a fight pit match. It is Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins, with Daniel Cormier as the special guest referee.
I want to care about this match. I really do. I just don't. I don't know why. I think it's this dread that I think that Seth's going to win the match.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because Riddle and Rollins, their feud up until now has been amazing. Their matches have been amazing. They've taken it to a personal level, and they did so well. It felt like, maybe this is where we end it. We come through, we do one more. We put it in the fight pit. We bring in a UFC guy as our referee. We stack the odds all in Riddle's favor. And really all that points to is somehow Rollins coming out on top.
Because all I have to do is remind you, Riddle's been in one other fight pit match, and he lost it.
Yeah.
When we thought for sure he was going to win it. So, and he lost it to a Timothy Thatcher that is nowhere near the same level as Seth Rollins. I like Timothy Thatcher, but he's not a Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm going Seth Rollins, because I don't know how, don't know why, but something happens, and somehow Seth wins. That's the only answer I've got.
Yeah, I have that same dreading feeling that you have. I think Seth Rollins is the victor here. There's just too many signs pointing to Riddle. Even though he lost the last fight pit match, he introduced the stipulation. This is something he wanted. It suits his background. And then Seth Rollins is going to just come in and deliver a couple of curb stomps and walk away with the victory. And it's going to be what it's going to be. But it feels like Riddle and Rollins need to finish it up now. It's like we've already had the crescendo of the storyline. I feel like that was when they were getting real personal. We had the fake parking lot brawls. We had the split screen interviews where Seth's poking fun at Riddle and his family. And I think that was our peak. And we've sort of jumped that peak a little bit now. It's time to wrap it up, boys.
Yeah, this is a feud that's definitely jumped. I honestly believe they should have had Riddle win at SummerSlam. They should have had him win there, and then they could have both moved on their way. Because they kind of overstayed their welcome.
Yeah. That was our big match. This is like an epilogue that nobody really asked for. Alrighty, well, we are roughly halfway through the show, and that means that it's time to go into our Song of the Week. It's not an entrance theme this week, as with all of our premium live event shows, where we preview them. This is the theme for the live event, and this time it is called Villain. And you're back to the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. We got 2 more matches still on the Extreme Rules card to get through before we can even start looking at anything NXT. Do you want Raw Women's Championship or do you want SmackDown Women's Championship?
Let's go Raw.
Raw Women's Championship is on the line in a ladder match. It will be Bianca Belair with Bliss and Asuka by her side going against Bayley with Kai and Sky by her side. We have not removed ourselves from this 6-woman feud just yet, but now we get to see who's going to climb the ladder and unbuckle the championship to hold it aloft the winner.
This should be an interesting match. I think it'll be a really good one. I have been struggling with this match pretty much since they announced it. It also makes me wish they had the old title designs. Not un-Velcro.
Yeah.
Because I would love a shot of them fighting over the title as it's still on its perch.
Mm-hmm.
But that it will immediately, the second they both grab onto it with the Velcro, it'll immediately come loose.
True.
So I really, really I like Bayley. I have loved Bayley since NXT. Bayley went into another stratosphere when she turned heel. And she's been great since she came back. Bianca is amazing. I think Bianca retains.
All right.
I think Bianca retains just because I don't think Bayley's the person that dethrones her.
Okay.
That said, I would not be surprised with Bayley walking out with the title. I'm like 55-45 here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my pick. Is I'm going with Belair.
Funnily enough, I'm also 55-45, but I am on the other side of the coin. It just feels like everything is lining up for a bit of a title change here. Bayley returning. We've done the big 6-woman feud. She's got her crew tightly behind her, who also hold championship gold. And then Belair has had an amazing run with the title, some absolutely great matches throughout, and I think she won't be forgotten when she loses the championship. I still think she's going to be up there in that stratosphere, but I guess I trust Kai and Sky a little bit more than I trust Bliss and Asuka, who are still hanging out with Belair without necessarily a full motivation there. They kind of want that title a little bit as well. And so I don't know if they're going to be the most loyal partners at ringside. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's a ladder match.
Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
If Bayley wins, I think it'll be because Alexa Bliss got involved.
Fair enough.
And not for Bianca.
Well, it is a ladder match. We can see anything happen, but we'll have to wait and see what does end up happening this weekend. And our last match, a SmackDown Women's Championship match. It is a nice, clean, straight-up one-on-one, Extreme Rules, no disqualification, Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey.
All right. There was a reason why I wanted to do this one.
Is it because we're going to talk about Bray Wyatt for the next 20 minutes?
No. This is going to be... Every sign points to Liv Morgan absolutely getting annihilated.
You're not wrong.
That said, they have done pretty well of trying to make her look somewhat of a competent opponent for Ronda. With the stipulation and everything, though, Ronda is definitely the favorite, which is why I'm going with Liv to retain.
Correct answer.
But it's not going to be a clean win. It's not.
Boo.
I think somebody attacks Ronda during the match.
Is it Bray Wyatt?
Whether it's a returning Charlotte, whether it's Shayna Baszler, somebody attacks Ronda. And that is the thing that gives Liv the ability to pin her.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm going to just end up saying, yes, me too. But I don't know, I got the same hunch. I got something deep down in my gut that says Liv Morgan can win this one. And yeah, I still think they teased it a little bit that Ronda versus Shayna is a much bigger money match that I'd rather see. And if that's where we end up going off of this, then all power to them. That should be a good match. But, if Liv does retain here, we need to detach her away from Ronda. We need to get her those clean wins as a champion. We kept talking about it. We've been harping on it for months. That she needs to get some clean wins under her belt. And I feel like this one's another one that's very 45-55 for me, but I just have that little bit of faith in Liv Morgan. The same faith I have in Finn Balor. Maybe I got too much faith this time around.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I do think if Liv does lose the title here, it's going to be because they're making Ronda a transitional to transition it to Shayna.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would probably do. So I think that would be probably what would happen. Because as you said, a big money match is Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey. So if they want to put the title on the line, that's more power to them. I could see that as an easy thing to do.
Alrighty, well, with all of those predictions out of the way, one last thing before we move on to NXT. What is the over-under? Are we going to see the White Rabbit debut? And is it going to be Bray Wyatt?
going back to our Seth Rollins Matt Riddle pick. I think that's why I'm so concerned about that match. I think the White Rabbit debuts during the fight pit, and it is in fact Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I think at this point, I know all signs were pointing to the next Raw and the next SmackDown, etc., but it is Extreme Rules. It is going to be where the White Rabbit at least makes their presence known physically, whether that be interfering in one of the matches, showing up. They're gonna be here. As you say, if I look at all 6 matches, that's the one that makes the most sense here for me. The only other one I can think about maybe is if we go into a White Rabbit versus Edge feud after this as a possibility, but there's only a few.
That's the one, and it would be very obvious if he debuts in that match. He's taking over the Judgment Day. Finn Balor would then be a grunt for Bray, because who's going to stop Bray from doing anything? I mean, the Fiend character proved that he can do just about anything.
True.
Including apparently survive and being burned alive.
The pandemic era was crazy. But yeah, I do think we're going to see him. I do think it is Bray Wyatt. Too many signs pointing that way to think anything else at this point, but I'll be happily surprised. Well, I'll be surprised if it's somebody else. I'll say happily depending on who it is. I won't preempt that.
Yeah, I expect it to be Bray Wyatt wearing that white mask they used to wear they used to have as part of the Wyatt family. Mm-hmm. That kind of looked like a goat, kind of looked like a rabbit.
Gotcha. Alrighty, well, we've still got a little bit left, so we can talk a bit about NXT. We are heating up towards Halloween Havoc, and one of the big headline matches for Halloween Havoc is Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez one more time. We got their stipulation this week with Grayson Waller spinning the wheel for them, and they're going to be having a Weapons Wild match between the two of them.
Should be fun. I hope to see a skateboard get used. I think that would be funny.
Maybe not a pre-broken one that breaks in your hands this time.
But yeah, it should be interesting. I think Roxanne comes out on top. I think this feud has been built for the babyface to come out on top. Mm-hmm. And Cora's still got plenty of time left to get to where we believe.
Yeah. I agree. I love both of these women. I think they've both got amazingly bright futures, wherever they end up, whether that's still on NXT, whether that's going up to the main roster. I do think they're going to do great things. But in terms of which of the two is going to hold the title first, that's also a bit of a coin flip to me, you know? If you asked me 6 months ago, I'd have said Cora Jade all the way. Now I'm definitely... We're reusing this a lot, but about 55-45, maybe Roxanne instead.
Yeah, Roxanne's got a ton of potential too. So I just want a really good match. That's all the main thing I want.
Yeah, let's cheer for good wrestling. We got a couple of other pieces as well. We can talk about their women's tag team championships. We know Chance and Carter. Katana and Kaden hold the titles, and we know now who their number one contenders are going to be. Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark ended up winning the match against Toxic Attraction and setting their sights on the current champions.
Yeah, this was obvious. They've been building towards Lyons and Stark versus Chance and Carter for a few weeks now, so it was pretty obvious who was going to win this match.
Yeah, and it continues that build of Nikita Lyons, which although it's not towards the NXT Women's Championship, it is still towards a championship gold. And I could definitely see them even potentially picking up those titles just as a bit of a rub, even though they're not as prestigious as, for example, the singles title could have been. Because the singles title is, I believe, currently held up as Alba Fire looks to be coming after that one.
Yeah. Alba Fire is crazy.
She's gone to the Dexter Loomis school of making friends.
Apparently, because she committed kidnapping.
There's a lot of laws being broken around the WWE right now, okay? People gotta chill out. Stop kidnapping people, please. But yeah, that's where we're heading. It's Alba Fire, it's Mandy Rose. Should be a good match between those two, and maybe finally Mandy Rose gets dethroned. We'll have to wait and see. But we have hit our time, so it has been great talking to you.
Bye-bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, or our YouTube, youtube.com/wrestling RND up. And we will see you next week for our 499th show next week.